Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay chapter. Um, Tonight we're having an amazing speaker with us, Adwoa. She brings us, or she's going to take us through the hidden workflow dependencies to scalable automation. And we're looking at a business analysis case study. In this session, we're hoping that we learn how hidden dependencies can create delays, duplications, and inefficiencies, and how we as business analysts can uncover and fix them before even automation begins. But before we go into the session fully, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Esther. I presently serve as the Vice President of Professional Development and Training for the IIBA Tampa Bay chapter. And for those that are new to the IIBA, many of us work as business analysts every day, but not everyone knows that there is a global organization dedicated to advancing our profession. So the IIBA is a professional association, which the Tampa Bay chapter is also one of the many chapters. It's a professional association with over 30,000 members, 120 chapters, 1,500 volunteers, and 500 partners worldwide. The certifications many of you already recognize, or you're working towards the CBAP, the CCBA, or even the ECBA. So at its core, IB exists to elevate the impact of business analysts, helping us to make better decisions, deliver better outcomes, and ultimately, would say make the world better, one business and one project at a time. What are the benefits of joining the IIBA? We have professional development and related materials. Every chapter around the world, they have we have professional development programs, weekly study groups like we do here at the Tampa Bay chapter. We also have trainings by chapters all around the world. We have the IIBA's business analysis body of knowledge, that's the BABOK, plus many other amazing resources, newsletters, articles available. Then another benefit of joining the IIBA, we're able to network. You get to meet amazing people, you get to meet amazing speakers, you get to meet professionals, people that have experience and are willing to even share. Then another important benefit of joining the IIBA, you get discounts on certification exams. So this discount helps to reduce even the discounts that are provided to members at times exceed the membership cost. So um, being a member of the IBA, something very important and something you should consider. Now, the IBA itself is worldwide, so we have a lot of chapters. There are IBA chapters in major cities around the world. What I would say is if there is no active chapter near you, we can talk about you starting a chapter, or you're welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA. Something very important about the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter is that our members aren't restricted to just residents of Florida. We have participants in the United States here. We have participants in Canada, in Colombia, in Jamaica, in Nigeria, the Russian Federation, Ukraine, and even more countries counting. Um, all this is to say that if you do not have an IIBA chapter, the Tampa Bay chapter can be your chapter. We are proud business analysts and we are proud to have you. If you joined the call earlier, you'd see that we were having interesting conversations. We're an amazing group of people that have the heart for business analysis, and not just having the heart for business analysis, having the heart to help you, having the heart to see you get better. So we want you, we need you in our chapter. Please consider us. Our vision here at the Tampa Bay IIBA is that we want to build a thriving community of empowered business analysts. Whether we like it or not, we're already fulfilling that vision. We're fulfilling the mission. We're fulfilling our mandate. And we know that we can still do more because we are the Tampa Bay IIBA. We're here to serve you. So I would ask, why exactly would you choose to join the Tampa Bay IIBA? We have weekly trainings. We meet literally every Thursday, except some Thursdays at towards the end of the year, but that would definitely be communicated. We have the BA masterclass that happens every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. And the speaker for today is already here. That's Adwoa. We also have the CBAP Babok test prep that started in February and is going to run through till September, and it happens every Thursday at 8 p.m. to 9, between 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. We also have another CBAP class for those in other regions that happens on Saturday mornings. So that session is also available. It's also a CBAP test prep class. Then we have the SDLC experience workshop. For those that were a part of us last year could testify that the SDLC for last year was amazing. We have the SDLC 2026 already coming up. By now, you should have seen one or two posts on our social media channels. So get ready. SDLC 2026 is here. We offer multiple training sessions each week. We also have if you want to get details about our training sessions or our events, please check out our website, the tampabay.iiba.org. Check out events. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. We also have our YouTube channel, that's YouTube at IIBA Tampa Bay. Then we have an amazing index. We call it the Bob's Amazing Index. That's at rpchurchhill.com, and that index has events from 2021 till date. We have 300 plus events available on that amazing index. So please check all, and they are like well arranged. If you need details or events that has to do with a particular topic, you can easily search. That index is actually useful and helpful. So you can view all our events on our website as well. As a result of putting on all these trainings and mentorings that we've been doing, just last year, the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter was awarded the 2025 Professional Development Award for excellence, meaning we went above and beyond. I like to say that we're gearing up to get that award again this year, but who knows? Maybe. So, we're talking about the Tampa Bay IIBA. The truth is, it doesn't exist in isolation. This is our esteemed board members, amazing people that are here, and people that have your interest at heart, people that really want to see you win. We're led by our president, Thea Soren, an amazing president, I must say. Our VP of Marketing, Cliff, Simas, our VP of Management, Sarita, our VP of Administration, Bill, our Director of Administration, Rich, who is our VP of Finance, Alicia, our VP of Digital Assets, Kosi, VP of Technology, Imal, Amarachi, Olga, and Bob. Every person on this board is here to serve, is here to help you, and we're there to see you get better. Like I said earlier, we have the CBAP training classes ongoing. This is the first one that started in February, and it's going to run through or run till September 19th, and it's for 7 months. We're doing that. That already started. So if you need more information about this, please reach out to Thea via LinkedIn. Um, and she's there. So we've been hosting all these CBAP study sections and all that, or the certification study sections. One result of these efforts since 2021 is that we've seen students that have reached out to tell us, oh, your training, your mentoring was a big part of our success in achieving our certifications. So many people on this list that you see are past participants of our CBAP study group, and several of them studied along with us using even only our YouTube videos. Of these 32, a good number have gone on to lead IIBA chapters and organizations here and around the world. It goes to say that the IIBA Tampa Bay chapter, well, we make leaders here. So if you want to be a leader, who knows? Next, the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter. We're very proud to be the very first IIBA chapter to sponsor a book to benefit the global BA audience. So we have business analysis bridging the gap across industries. And this year we added the version 2 of that same book with an addition of 12 more industries. Thank you so much to the authors who contributed their expertise, their experience to benefit the business analysis community. As a chapter, we have partners. So, but our number one partner group is you. IIBA members, and those who participate with our chapter. We are partnered with over a dozen other IIBA chapters worldwide and mentoring 4 chapters that are just forming. That's the Ghana, another a couple of other chapters. We've also partnered with the Doba Group based in the UK and also organizations in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. Then we have amazing partnerships as well. We've successfully partnered with several recruiting services and training communities, and our goal is to elevate the BA community. We also have a partnership with Purdue University. This is also this actually concluded a couple of weeks back, and we're gearing up for another session of this partnership. Benefits of being our partners or us having partners is that we get access and discounts to special programs or special events. So the Watermark Learning gives us 40% discount using this code. The discount code is Tampa21. And what's the Watermark Learning? Watermark Learning is a tool that we use for the CBAP training classes. And many of our students have expressed how effective the Watermark classes are to them. So there's a current IIBA promotion as well. So if you want to save $50 on the CBAP and CCBA application fees, valid June 1st to June 30th, which I think ran out already, by the way. But we can also please just confirm if this promotion is still available. Adaptive US also gives us another discount code, which we can actually make use of. Now, events that we have planned for next week, we're going to be having a business data analytics and AI from insights to intelligent decision making. And we're going to be having George Bridges. So please register for this event and we look forward to seeing you there. Then Cliff is going to be leading, that's on Saturday, July 18th. Cliff is going to be leading the park cleanup. That's at Durant Park, 1298 West Coral Street in Tampa, Florida. If you want to reach out, if you want to be a part of this, please reach out to Cliff. And based on this, we can actually sign off on Bright Futures hours as well as any other volunteer hours that you may need. So please, if you're coming for this, please plan to wear comfortable clothing, closed-toe shoes, and gloves. We will provide trash bags. We'll do a good job of providing that. All are welcome, including the littlest ones. So please come with your kids. Then next, we're going to be having a masterclass by Shane McDougall, Frugal Founders, How to Launch and Validate Without Growing Broke. Next, we're going to be having Shana Fillmore. She's going to be taking us through Beyond Writing Requirements, the Real Value of Business Analysis. A very important event, August the 13th, we're going to be hosting a panel of 5 North American recruiters. We will ask them the questions that will help BAs land roles, but now and in the future. So please register for this event. We look forward to having you there. For more training, please check out our website. Check us out on LinkedIn and also check us out on YouTube and our amazing index rpchurchhill.com. Now to our presentation. I'm going to stop presenting and I'm going to give our speaker the floor. Adwoa, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esther. I am sharing my screen now. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Got it.
Got it.
Okay. So, sorry. So like I said, I don't feel too good. So my voice, might sound a bit low. Please pardon me or bear with me. So good evening, everyone. And thank you to the IIBA Tampa Bay chapter for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Adwoa Arhin. And I'm a business analyst at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Much of my work focuses on improving operational processes that support international students. Today's case study comes from one of those projects. But what I want you to take away is not the technology or the higher education setting. It's a way of thinking about workflow problems that can apply in many organizations. Now, I will walk you through one real project, and more importantly, the business analysis thinking that helped us uncover hidden workflow dependencies, redesign the path of work, automate intentionally, redesign the path of work, and then automate intentionally. With that said, let's get started. Now, by the end of our time together, I hope you will be able to live with four practical skills. The first one is you'll be able to recognize the hidden workflow dependencies that quietly delay work. Secondly, you'll be able to have a framework for separating symptoms from root cause. And the third one is you'll be able to see why redesign should come before automation. Finally, we would discuss ways to measure improvements that are meaningful to the business. Now, before I move into this case, I would like to ask a quick question. Has anyone ever worked on a process that everyone was working really hard, but the work still moved very slowly? Now, it could be because of handles or system dependencies, or an automation was added to a process before it was well designed. Now, if any of this sound familiar, please feel free to type a yes in the chat, or you can use a reaction. Great. Thank you for sharing. So this is why this topic is really important. Now, as we move through this session, I want you to keep one delayed workflow in mind. We would come back to that later. Now, when this project started, everyone agreed that the process was taking too long. At first glance, it looked like a productivity issue. But one thing kept coming back to me. I was wondering if the team was actually that slow, or the process was making it impossible for the team to move quickly. Now, that question changed everything. So the more I analyzed the workflow, the more I realized that people were not the problem. The process actually had a lot of hidden dependencies and waiting points that were built into the system, which were delaying the process even before anyone could act. Now, that realization shifted our focus. So instead of asking, how do we get people to move faster, we started asking, what is the workflow waiting for? Now, whenever anybody describes a process as being slow, I always go back to that question. It moves the conversation away from blame and toward diagnosis. And that is where business analysts create real value. Now, let me show you briefly what the current state or the old process looked like. I know some of us, some of us here might be international students or were international students, so the process might sound a bit familiar. So I want you to imagine an international student who, did everything right. They applied, they were admitted, they uploaded their documents. They were very excited to start the visa process. But then they were waiting and waiting for an I-20. It wasn't because anything was missing or someone forgot to do their job. But inside our office, those documents were stuck traveling between systems such as Slate, Banner, Teradata, spreadsheets, Teams messages, etc. Now, let me tell you exactly what was happening. So, if a student uploads their documents in Slate, the office assistant or the GA, they were usually the GA who were working on these requests, they would notify the DSO. The DSO is a designated school official, so they were responsible for reviewing, documents, and then issue the I-20s. So when the students uploaded the documents and slates, the office staff would notify the DSO via a Teams message and spreadsheet that the student has uploaded their documents. So the DSO will go back to Banner and then update the visa information. And then we wait for 24 hours for that update to reflect in TDS, that's the Teradata system, so that a profile can be created for the student. Now, after the profile is created, here comes the most manual parts. The GA, that's the graduate assistant or the office staff, will go back to Slate where the documents were uploaded. Downloads these documents one by one, comes back to Teradata, and then uploads these documents one by one. Now, when these documents were uploaded, the GA will signal the DSO via a Teams message that the documents are ready for review. The DSO then goes back to Teradata, reviews the documents, and then issues the I-20. And the DSO comes back to the Teams messages, notifies the office staff or the GA that the I-20 has been uploaded. The GA then goes back to Teradata, downloads the I-20, and then emails the student with the I-20 and, of course, the pre-arrival information. Now, on an average, I-20 turnaround time was, about 10 days. Now, let me emphasize that none of these activities were wrong on their own. The challenge was the combination. Each handoff was creating an opportunity for delay. Now, one thing that really stood out to me was that staff were the problem was not the staff. They were not causing the delays. They were in fact working around these delays. And the hidden dependencies. Now, as I analyzed the workflow, I kept seeing the same pattern. The work was always waiting for something else to happen first. Now, that led me to think about 4 types of hidden dependencies. And the first one is trigger dependency. This means that something has to happen before work can even begin. And in our case, before documents can even be uploaded to Teradata, the profile has to be created. And before a profile has to be created, the student has to submit the intent to enroll. So when that step is missed, it means everything comes to a halt. So that was the trigger dependency. Now, the second one is the sync cycle lag. People were ready to work, but the systems were not ready. So when the students uploaded their documents and then the DSO updates the visa information in Banner, we'd have to wait for 24 hours for that update to sync. So there was always like a waiting time. And then the third one is the manual prompts. Progress always depended on someone remembering to send a message or a follow-up to track all the work. And the fourth one was, I'm sorry, I am moving too fast. So the fourth one was the visibility gap. Staff were not seeing who owned what, where the work was, and etc. Um, these categories actually helped us see what was actually slowing the work down. Now I'm curious, how often does anyone encounter these in your workplace? It could be trigger, sync, manual, or visibility. If you often encounter any of these, please feel free to ch type it in the chat. Do you often encounter triggers, sync cycles, manual prompts, visibility gaps? If you encounter any of these, you can just type it in the chat. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Now it's interesting how often these patterns show up in, different workflows. Now that we understood what was really causing the delays, the solution actually became clearer. Now, one of the first questions people usually ask is, what can we automate? That is actually a reasonable question. But in our case, that wasn't the first question. Our first question was, what no longer needed to exist? I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I jumped. Oh, sorry, I think I jumped a slide. Sorry. So the next slide should be the BA techniques we used. Um, so because it's an IIBA audience, I want to pause here and then make the business analysis work behind this project very, very visible. So from the outside, this actually looks like a technology project, and I don't want to dispute the fact that technology actually supported the change, but business analysis made the real problem visible. So what did we do as a business analyst? We mapped the current state, talked with stakeholders, observed how the work was actually moving. We challenged assumptions and then identified where cases were actually moving. And once we understood the problem, the future state design, requirements, testing, and implementation became much clearer. Now, the biggest shift was actually helping people see that the issue was not just the system. It was how the work was actually moving through the process. Now, that for me is where business analyst role matters. We help organization understand the problem clearly enough so that we are able to design the right solution. Now, the future state redesign. Now, once we understood what was really causing the delays, the solution became clearer. Now, one of the questions people usually ask is, what can we automate? That's a reasonable question, but in our case, that wasn't the first one. Our first question was, what no longer needed to exist? Some of the steps disappeared completely, some were centralized, and others were automated. Now, let me show you what actually looked like in the process, in the new process. So now when a student was admitted and then they uploaded their documents, we didn't wait for their visa information to be updated in Banner before it would update in Teradata for a profile to be created. All that was removed. When a student was admitted, they immediately show up in Teradata. Now they are invited to the portal to upload their documents. So now if you remember, with the old process, when the students were admitted, the office staff or the graduate students were doing the downloads and then uploads. Now with the new system, the student is invited to the portal to download his own documents. Now, the only thing the office staff or the GA is doing is checking if the documents are complete. They are not going to download and upload. All those things are no longer happening. So now they are checking if the document is complete. Now, if the document is complete, they route it to the DSO. They don't use Teams messages or spreadsheets to signal the DSO that the documents are ready for review or anything. They just route the request to the DSO. Now, DSO reviews the documents again, of course, and then issues the I-20. The DSO is not going to update the GAs via Teams messages that the I-20 has been issued. For the GA to go back to the tile daughter and then download the I-20 and then send the email. As soon as the I-20 is issued, the DSO notifies the student in the system. So the student receives a mail, an automated mail that his I-20 is ready for him to download. Now, as you can see, most of the manual steps were removed. The download and uploads were all removed. The Teams messages, the spreadsheets, everything was removed. The work was moving through just one system, all within Teradata. Everything was centralized. Now, once the workflow is simple and clear, automation always has a better process to support. Now, this is a part naturally everyone wants to see. Now, everyone wants to ask, did the redesign actually make any difference? And the answer was yes. Now, as you can see, I-20 turnaround time reduced from 7 to 10 days to 1 to 3 days. Handling steps were reduced by more than half. This means that staff no longer had to rely on spreadsheets and team messages to track work. Now, for me, these numbers, they represent more than operational efficiency. This means that students received their I-20s on time, and staff had more time to focus on other, work. And so because we measured time, effort, and visibility together, we could show whether the workflow had actually improved. So as you can see on the slide, I listed how this was tracked. You'd have to compare the baseline cycle time to pilot outcomes. You'd have to count handling steps before and after redesign. You'd have to track routing speed and review readiness. And then you'd have to replace spreadsheet dependencies with system level visibility. Now, this is probably the slide that I would most like you to remember after today's session. Like I said, this case study came from or is from the higher education, but this approach can be used in many other contexts. Now, the first thing you need to do is to understand what really happens, not just what the documented process says should happen. And the second one is you'd have to locate the hidden dependencies. You have to find the triggers, the system lags, manual prompts, visibility gaps, etc. Then you have to redesign the path of work. You have to remove some steps. You could have to centralize, clarify, or simple before changing the system. And then you'd have to automate. That means redesigning the workflow, not just the workaround. And lastly, you'd have to pilot, measure, and scale. Now, this is what makes the playbook reusable. It helps you understand the structure of the work before deciding what to automate. So we have spent the last several minutes talking about one project from my organization. Now, before we move into questions, I want to make this practical for you. Now, think about one workflow in your organization that people describe as very slow. Now, using the three questions on the screen, I'll give you some few seconds to think about where the delays could be coming from. And then when you're comfortable, please share in the response what's one thing you would redesign before automating. So it could be a handoff, a manual reminder, a spreadsheet tracker, or an unclear ownership point. So this is like a practical step I want all of us to engage in. First of all, think about one delayed workflow in your organization. And then use the three questions I have listed here. Where does work wait before someone can act? Where do people use email, chat, or spreadsheets to move work forward? Who lacks visibility into status? Um, so please use these three questions to diagnose where the delay is actually coming from. So like I said, if you're comfortable, you can share one response in the chat. What's the one thing you would want to redesign before automating? So I'll just give you 1 minute, just think about it and then share, your response in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and then share with all of us. So this is an exercise I want all of us to partake in. Is anyone ready to share? Or, I mean, if you don't want to speak, you can just, type the response in the chat.
I think we have people that have one or two things to say. So just think of one really manual process that you have had to, you might not necessarily have owned it, but something that you've worked on. Let's even just have that feel of manual processes that when you even think about it now, you're like, really? Did we
Yeah,
spend that much time? That's frustrating.
yeah.
So examples, the floor is open.
Sorry, Esther, I'm not sure if you were sharing or you were amplifying what I said.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I was just only amplifying what you said and
Okay,
giving
okay.
people room opportunities to ask.
Yes. Oh, okay. Custom bandwidth. Okay. Anyone else wants to share? And like I said, if you don't want to talk, you can just type your response in the chat. I just want to know what these manual processes you encounter. What's the one thing you would redesign before automating? Like I said, it could be a handoff, a manual reminder, a spreadsheet. You can share the delayed workflow and then tell us what you would redesign before automating. Um,
For me, it would be I work in education as well, and
mhm.
I guess a communication process when it comes to admissions. Like teachers are like the last to know when a new student is enrolled or a new student is coming to visit who's possibly a potential candidate to be enrolled, and just streamlining that communication process because we're getting information from multiple sources.
Yeah.
Stephen, you hit one right on the bat is we have clients all the time that don't manage their processes and let divisions and departments pick their own products. So they go out onto the market and they get the best product for what they want to do. And before you know it, the company's using 20 programs to do something that should be centralized by one. And I bring this up because I do a lot of CRM implementations where that's the goal. Centralize everything, get it in one source of truth and one, cloud-based system. So we see a lot of that, especially with poor IT infrastructure. They just let departments do whatever they want. And I've seen that a lot in education when you brought up education. A lot of universities treat. I also worked a lot of hospitals, and it's funny how every department acts like their own little company and that they're not part of the same infrastructure. So they do their own little things. That's why you get 20 bills when you go to the hospital, because every department acts as their own little company and they don't work together most of the time. Oh, come on, somebody else can come in.
Yeah, anyone else wants to share?
I think another concern for me actually is, or concern slash question, because I think there are other people that might have these questions in their mind. At times when you see some manual processes, they're usually legacy processes.
Exactly.
Legacy processes where it's like, this person has been in this position for 20 years. This person has been in this position for 30 years, and you really don't want to step on toes. Especially in the world of AI, where we have people that are experienced and have spent so much time. Some see AI as a threat, like a big threat to their job, to their credibility, or to their expertise and all that. So in that scenario, how would you expect us? And I'm sure people have had that question or that experience before. You can also share that experience. Maybe a legacy process that you were trying to torpedo or something. But what exactly should be the action in that kind of scenario where you're dealing with legacy? It's manual. We agree. We admit it's manual. We want to automate it. We want to make it better. But we also have to deal with the diplomacy and the legacy stuff. That's my question.
So Esther, do you want me to answer that, or this is like, we can all discuss it. Anyone wants to share how to deal with this? You can all share.
Yeah, it's a topic for discussion.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
That's the one plus of a cloud-based system. If you can centralize everything, I can't tell you how many clients we have that they have spreadsheets that are a source of truth for freaking everything. Did a project for Microsoft, believe it or not. They would set up these workflows and everything else that would be triggered by spreadsheets of all things, because they wouldn't get it in a database or wouldn't get it on a site or on a form. That was a big thing with Microsoft Fabric. It can actually pick up spreadsheets and pick up changes and use them as triggers, but that is really old school stuff. You shouldn't be doing it in a spreadsheet. You certainly shouldn't be starting or ending a process based on that, but they have that functionality now.
Yeah. So in my case too, like I said, we're using spreadsheet to track how many I-20s were issued, whose visa has been, issued, how many cases were pending. We're using spreadsheet to track all this. And so the good thing about this new system is we have an inbuilt reporting that is scheduled on a weekly basis. So every week we send reports to the leadership, so they see how many I-20s have been issued. We don't have to reconcile between the spreadsheets. We don't have to go to CVs, because all this data, before you get this data, you'd have to make a reconciliation between the spreadsheet, between slates, between CVs. Now with this system, everything is centralized. You can just click a report or send a report, and then all this information is contained in this report. So you don't have to do reconciliation just to get this information. Yes. Anyone else wants to share?
Hmm.
This is like
That's
an
your
open discussion.
dashboards. Everybody
Yes,
wants them.
exactly.
Everybody
Dashboard.
wants them
Yeah.
real time.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else wants to share?
Oh, maybe I'll just say this as we wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
The hmm, the case study that was provided or that she talked about, I know most of us, virtually everybody, maybe one or two persons here might understand what's the I-20 process is.
Yeah.
So now maybe that would also help us see um, the bigger picture. Now, for any international students that's coming into the United States, there's a document that makes you legal apart from your visa. And that document is issued, you get it from your school, but it has a
Yeah.
ton of processes.
Yeah.
So that document, if you don't have that document, at times you cannot even schedule a visa appointment.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that scheduling a visa appointment is
Takes a
an
long time to
Herculean.
get dates. Yeah.
Exactly. You can wait months for dates.
Yeah.
So the document that's supposed to let you might let's an example, maybe you see a date today but you don't even have the I-20 to apply, and that date is gone, and the next date you see is maybe
Exactly.
2029 and you're supposed to resume in 2027. Like those ridiculous dates. That's the importance of the document in question. It might just feel
Yeah.
like a paper or like an
Yeah.
A4
Yeah.
paper,
Yeah.
but it's an important A4 paper.
Yeah.
So in that
Um,
situation, if that process is long,
yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add to what Esther shared. So in our case, we were seeing this, it was affecting our enrollment numbers a lot. So even though we were issuing the I-20s, it was the number of I-20s we were issuing were not reflecting in the enrollment numbers because they were delaying. And so the students end up deferring their programs or they end up going to other schools.
So,
Because I mean, if an I-20 is delaying, I'm not going to get a visa appointment date. And so like I said, they end up deferring or they move to a school that is ready to give them an I-20 on time. So that's why we even decided to do this in the first place. We could be issuing like over 200 I-20s, but at the end of the day, when we check the enrollment numbers, less than half of these students who got their I-20s issued enrolled. So what was the point? We had to make sure we improved the process so that students get their I-20s on time, they enroll on time, I mean, they get their answers on time. They get a visa appointment date on time, and then they enroll. So that's why we even decided to do this in the first place. So thank you, Esther, for throwing more light on the I-20 document. Yeah.
Hmm.
thank you so much, Adwoa. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Cliff.
You're in competition with schools that can do it better. That's the
Yes,
problem.
Exactly.
exactly,
You
exactly.
don't get yours approved, but somebody else did, then they're going to go there
Exactly.
first.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And just to add to that, I remember fall 2024, we issued about 200 I-20s, but only 500 enrolled, and that was sad. And then we decided that no, we had to do something about it. The process was taking too long. A lot of
500
manual.
or 50.
We issued about 200 I-20s, 50
Okay.
enrolled. Yes. So most of them ended up deferring or moving to other schools because we were delayed.
25%.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
a lot of wasted
That's a lot.
effort.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Effort.
a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah. So now what we decided to do was let's issue the I-20 on time. Even if we get 50 people, even if we issue 50 I-20s and 40 enroll, that is a lot. That's a lot of, difference. And so that's what we've set out to do. Now we are issuing the I-20s on time. We know that by the end of, I think we get the enrollment numbers. The last day of add and drop is like August 25th. I know that our enrollment numbers is going to increase or is going to improve a lot. Yeah.
You know,
Um,
Honestly, that's the problem with the university process to begin with. That's why so many students have to apply to 10 different schools.
Exactly.
It really shouldn't be that way, but
It shouldn't.
that's
It
a
shouldn't.
system we have.
Yeah, it's a system. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much, Adwoa.
Yeah, so no, the last thing, so as I close, I want to leave you with three key takeaways. The first is hidden dependencies often matter more than the visible effort. The second is automation works best after the process has been redesigned. And then finally, as business analysts, we create value by connecting people, process, and technology so that work can move more effectively. Now, if there's one idea I hope you remember from this session, it should be this. The next time someone describes a process as slow, don't ask by asking what to automate or what can we automate. Ask, what is the workflow waiting for? That's the question that changed the direction of our project. And I hope it gives you a useful lens for your own work. So thank you, Tampa Bay chapter, for inviting me. Thank you, everyone, for coming. If there are any questions, I would be happy to answer.
I just want to confirm from the teaching side as well as the experience side, you are so right about, finding that block in the process, finding what alternatives people have figured around that blocker, but or figure out where does that cause a reverse in the process where it has to go back to an earlier step and repeat the steps or figure out what didn't I do correctly back a little bit earlier. I got one right now where I'm suffering through it. I'm not in charge of it, but there was a change to the security for a system I use, and it now has an external authenticator app that's provided by the third party. And in order to activate it, in order to activate the access to the app, I have to get an authentication code from the app, which it won't get unless it's connected to my account on the mainframe, on the main activity. It's just like this vicious circle.
Yeah.
And there is no way around it that I have any control over. And it happens in so many processes I see. You get the roadblock or somebody critical is unavailable because they're on a well-deserved holiday.
Exactly.
And what happens? The backup happens and everything falls over.
Yeah.
So it's not an isolated problem, but it's one that as business analysts, we can be a lot more aware of and a lot more proactive of determining the impacts and making that visible to people who can change the business processes.
Exactly. Thank you, Miss Carol. That is a good one. Yeah, I couldn't agree.
I will say you made a statement just a little while ago and it just brushed over. But the key to fixing a process before you automate it. I get so many people who want to automate everything. It's like, okay, well, if you automate a broken process, guess what? It breaks faster.
Broken.
Yeah,
it stays broken, just breaks faster.
Yeah.
That is such a big key.
Yeah. Redesign before automate.
Yeah, and that's a problem I have is with the engineering background is I'm solutioning as I'm listening. That's a huge problem that I have versus your typical business analyst that records everything or should anyway. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm learning to listen and shut my mouth.
2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in proportion.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Cliff.
Don't tell my wife that one.
Anyway,
Oh my God. Thank you so
so
much.
thank you all for,
Um,
listening.
and thank you so much, Adwoa. Thank you for coming. Thank you for this session. This was actually good. And we
Yeah,
appreciate you speaking to us. And thank you so much, everyone. I
thank
think I want to
you.
give everyone 5 minutes back. Hmm, interesting. So I would see everyone next week. For those taking the CBAP class, I'm going to see you in 5 minutes. So see you soon
Yep. I
and
was going to
have
say
a
it gives you a
lovely day.
5 minute breather.
Yeah, thank you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.